Hardy Construction.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's the Hardy Construction with your host, Alex N.
Popcorn showers.
You can find us at hardyconstruction.tumblr.com as well as facebook.com/the Hardy Construction. And today's film is
Tucker and Dale vs. Evil.
Tucker and Dale vs. Evil is a 2010 independent horror film directed by Eli Craig, written by Eli Craig and Morgan Jurgensen. It's wow, what a fucked up name that is. It stars Tyler Labine, Alan Tudyk, and Katrina Bowden.
Tudyk? Are you serious?
No, Tudyk, Tudyk. But this film was suggested to us by flamefox.tumblr.com. You can find them obviously at that name that I just said, and we had a little voting match because it was between. I asked Flamefox, they were like, "Do you have can we suggest films?" And I was like, "Sure, give us two, because if you suggest like one movie and it's horrendous and I don't want to see it, give us two, so at least you can pick the lesser of two evils." And we put that up as a question on our Facebook page as well as the Tumblr, and of course, out of the hundreds of fans we have, about 6 of us answered.
Yeah, the legions of admiring fans.
You guys got to get your shit together, people. We get reblogged a lot, but nobody answers. It's Horror Harbor always answers, and it's really cool. It was funny because it reminded me of the time I think Horror Harbor. I put a question up on our Tumblr, and Horror Harbor, she
Does she live in New York? Do you live in New York?
Leave her alone. She's a good person.
No, I just
leave. That's the last time I'm gonna talk to her personally. But I put up a question
I need a girlfriend.
What kind of friend? What kind of film? See, you got me saying shit. I was like, what kind of films would you want us to see? And I put a whole bunch of genres. And so, her being the nice, Tumblr person she is, actually put up our question on her horrorharbor.tumblr.com, and everybody just liked the page. They didn't even answer. I don't think you know much of Tumblr because I'm the one that deals with Tumblr. Danny kind of just spaces out.
I does nothing.
He's just a talent. He's the beautiful, handsome talent, and I'm the one that actually does all the work. But he does most of the work now on the YouTube. So, but anyway, there's ways where people can actually answer, the question, and then people just liked it instead of saying anything specific. So I was like, okay. But at least in this one,
on Facebook, and it's like, my dog just died, and there's 10 people like this.
They like that your dog died.
Nobody says oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Or,
I hated that dog. But we want to thank everybody that obviously thank Flame Fox for making the suggestion, and the one person that voted on our Facebook page, who was Shannon Grant. So she voted for Tucker and Dale, and ironically, the person that voted first was youdamndirtyapes.tumblr.com, and he wanted it to be Teeth because he said it would be really interesting to hear your reaction to it. So
my reaction?
Our reaction, yeah.
Oh,
so
okay.
Which I understand because this is a penis and vagina comedy show. It's basically
vagina with teeth.
Yeah, so
vagina dentata.
I mean, it literally would give us half an hour of just talking about.
I took an art theory class once, and I swear to God, half of the course was about that.
Really?
About vagina dentatas.
So we want to thank for voting, but sadly for You Damn Dirty Apes, a lot of people voted for Tucker and Dale, which was nightshadowprod.tumblr.com, Spirit of a Sailor, Spirit of a Sailor.tumblr.com, Flame Fox obviously voted for Tucker and Dale, thegeekylatina.tumblr.com, Ru -fi -oo like Rufio voted for Tucker and Dale. But then one of the better Tumblrs, who was called Teeth Whitening Best, just liked the post. And then when I went on their page, it was ad copy for toothbrushes. It's pretty amazing. Anyway, thank you guys for voting and taking your time out to do that for us. Okay, so the film, Tucker and Dale vs. Evil, 2010. My dealing with this film was a while back when they started having, what is it? What the hell is that thing called? What's that place in Canada?
What?
What's in Canada? Where's that area in Canada?
Cannon Festival? Or...
It's a Canadian science fiction festival.
Okay.
What starts with a T and is in Canada? Is there a place in
Toronto?
Toronto, maybe.
Toronto Film Festival?
Toronto After Dark, or I believe it's one of those film festivals. Might have been in Cannes or something like that. Where I was hearing a lot of buzz for Tucker and Dale vs. Evil, and it was being sold as a comedy. And when I first heard about it, I was like, oh, I'm not really into the hillbilly thing, like I've said in a couple episodes back. The only two
I
hillbilly.
don't have a thing going for Larry the Cable Guy.
He's funny, but anyway, I know the only two hillbilly things that I like. I say hillbilly. The two hillbilly projects that I do like I always say, was
Are you smarter than a fifth grader?
yeah, I love who's that guy? What's
Jeff
his name?
Foxworthy.
Jeff Foxworthy. You might be a redneck if you wear a white hood and terrorize the minorities. But anyway, the only two horror franchises that I like are Endurance, which is a book by J.A. Conrath, and The Hills Have Eyes, the remake by what's his face, the French Alexander Aja.
Yeah, but this is totally a comedy. It's not a horror movie.
Yeah, this is a comedy film, and it's very hard to do. Well, I guess it's not that hard to do a horror comedy around there. I mean, there's really, but it's also how the tone is. Because nowadays it could be comedy and horror, but there's the scary movie type of approaching it, and
This
then
movie reminds me very much. It although in context it's totally different, but Zombieland, like that kind of
yeah,
feeling.
I can feel. Yeah, it feels like it's grounded in reality. It's more about characters' reactions.
It's like cute, you know.
Yeah. It seems like harmless humor, but there's like graphic death that's going on like every 5 minutes in the film. So what's the basic setup of the movie? Right?
Basically, like
whatever the name
almost
is,
like who's on first, what's on second, like misunderstanding type
yeah,
of story.
it's kind of fun. It's very much the old style kind of vaudeville, black and white kind of humor.
Stupid miscommunications of basically these two like hick guys that are just very nice guys, and they get this vacation home out in the woods, and then there's like these bratty college kids that happen to be camping right near them, and they are convinced through a
series of it's a comedy of errors, so to speak.
Yeah.
It's like a gory version of Three's Company.
Yeah, basically. One of the girls like hits her head or something, and so one of the hicks. I guess,
all right, let's go back a second. So the film be like, and then this is how it ends, and we'll just end the episode right there.
Right.
So the film has characters played by Tucker is played by Alan Tudyk, who a lot of science fiction people.
I like that, two dicks.
Tudyk. If you added one more letter to it, it's just an offensive word towards the lesbian community. So don't do it. Alan Tudyk, who's from Firefly, he plays Wash. He was the pilot. I never watched Firefly. I only seen some of the movie. Anyway, Tyler Labine plays Dale. He's like the heftier of the two gentlemen, and I always know who this guy is. I've seen him in stuff before. The most recent thing he was in was this show called Rapist on CW. Oh no, I'm sorry, Reaper on CW.
That's a big difference. That's like a Freudian slip right there.
Oh, whoops. Anyway, so he was also the reason why he reminds me of somebody is because there used to be a cartoon called Megas XLR, and he looks like the human version of the main character, who's this big fat guy. Okay, that's it. There's Katrina Bowden, who plays Allison, who's the main female lead of the film, and she's the one that kind of gets into the middle. She's the catalyst for.
She's pretty hot.
She is. She's very pretty. The girls are very pretty in this film. There's
a bunch of douchebags.
And then there's Jesse Moss, who plays the uber douchebag called Chad. And it's funny seeing somebody else, the only black gentleman in the film, or he might be Hispanic, Brandon J. McLaren. He's actually in this show, The Killing, and he plays a teacher that gets beaten up into a coma in the show.
Did he deserve it?
No.
Okay.
And that was a comedy of misunderstandings too, because they thought that he raped and killed the daughter of one guy, so they beat him unconscious.
That is a pretty funny misunderstanding.
That's pretty funny. I mean, when you see that stuff. Anyway, so the film does deal with the, like as Danny or Popcorn said.
Yeah, could you hear me through the popcorn? Shit. Do you hear all this crinkling and shit?
Wait, what kind is it? Is it the real popcorn like Orville Redenbacher, or is it like bullshit?
It's Orville Redenbacher, exactly.
Oh wow, it's not what's that other shit that is called Best Show or After?
I don't know. I get good.
You know, Orville Redenbacher died because he was in a hot tub and he had a heart attack and drowned.
You think he evacuated his bowels into the water and they just like floated around like?
You think
his
bow tie spun around like after? That's fucked up.
Hey.
So it is actually surprisingly very funny, just because how smartly it's written. I would like to say, right?
Or like how stupidly almost.
But you know what I mean. In a way, it's like it's dumb, but in a smart way. That it's not being pandering towards the audience. It's not like epic movie or any of that shit. The horrible like comedic writing where they make something so obvious. It's more about the mannerisms of the character than it is of the film itself.
There's this one great part, which is so stupid, but I love it, where he hits the wasp nest with the chainsaw.
Oh, that was so... Oh, right. They do a whole...
just running around, and, like, it looks so great.
Everything these characters do is it does or do? Everything these characters does... Everything this...
No, that doesn't make sense.
Everything these characters happen to have done... No, that's fucked up.
No, everything they do.
Right, whatever these hillbillies do, they end up looking like maniacs, because there's a sequence where Dale, when they first actually confront the kids, not in a good way.
Oh, that was funny.
Dale's attracted to the main character, Allison. So he doesn't realize he actually has a what was it, a scythe in his hand?
He has this like the death scythe kind of thing.
You know, they actually call it a scythe. It's not a scythe. That always pissed me off because I always called it a scythe. Yeah, I guess we're dumb. So he has a scythe in his hand.
Vocabulary today. We're learning vocabulary.
He's using it to level himself off and speak to the girl, but he looks like a maniac because he's laughing at everything he's saying by himself, trying to seem personable.
Told him to laugh when Tucker told him to laugh.
But he just looks like a maniac. So the people run off scared. And through a series of events, the kids try to go skinny dipping, and Allison ends up being frightened by the two hillbillies who happen to be in the same lake, who are fishing at the same time. She falls and hits her head in the rock and the water. So they take her, into their boat, and they're saying, "Hey, we got your friend." But to these people that don't know them, it looks like they're just saying, "Oh, in a taunting, menacing way," and it just leads on in there and just escalates to every other character offing themselves off in supremely violent and dumb ways. But going back to what Danny or Popcorn said about I'm gonna not
popcorn
just
showers
shit anymore.
Popcorn showers,
as opposed to golden showers, right?
Popcorn showers. And actually, it's from a Dragon Ball movie. At the end, it's in the credits, like this horrible Japanese song.
Popcorn showers in Dragon
Ball.
That's
one of the lyrics in the song. It's terrible.
But maybe they just don't know English that well in Japan.
Oh,
and
they
just write
exactly.
Songs
the
like
lyric made no sense.
Popcorn showers.
And it doesn't with like a little like delay effect on it, like popcorn shower.
I gotta say, the guy who did the song, remember Chala Head Chala from Dragon Ball Z, like the main theme?
Okay.
They showed him in concert. He's like 40 to 50 years old. That motherfucker could throw a concert. He's still there doing the weird Japanese pointing into the air like he's a super. It's just amazing.
Does he do you think they based Piccolo on him? Like,
no, because he's not green and he doesn't wear a turban. Piccolo's like a space Muslim, isn't he? Something like
Basically,
that?
Essentially, yeah.
So, before we say anything horrible. But what did you like about the film and what did you not like about the film?
I pretty much just liked the whole thing, and
did you love it or did you like it?
Every time I started to lose a little interest, it would do some new funny thing, like the point where the guy runs at him and then gets impaled on the
Yeah, explain the chainsaw sequence.
Okay. Well, no, that actually wasn't the part I meant, but that part's so funny. Like, basically, these college kids are going to rescue their friend because they think she's in some kind of danger, and what's his face? I guess it was Tucker. Uh-huh. He is chainsawing a tree and he hits a wasp nest, and all of a sudden he's just they're swarming him, so he's just running with the chainsaw.
But it looked the way, because one guy's trying to investigate it because he finds a house and they're trying to look for the girl, and he's just doing the Leatherface's dance from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre in the first one.
Right.
That's what they were referencing to. And so he's just spinning around in a circle with a live chainsaw in his hand and frightens the other guy. And so it looks like Tucker's actually chasing the guy when he's trying to get the bees out of him, because he was trying to saw a piece of wood in half and there happened to be that beehive inside.
And the guy just impales himself really graphic on a fucking stick on a branch of a tree or whatever.
So do you think that's the fault of this film, that it sometimes just kind of meanders off and you can feel the budget of the film, or what?
No, I didn't get the sense it was because of budget. I just, a lot of movies kind of drag sometimes.
Yeah, I like the film overall, but I think that there was, I wish that the kids' deaths were more
graphic?
Peppered throughout no, they were fine. They were actually pretty graphic, I think. But I think that they should have been peppered more throughout the film, because it kind of seemed like a block of it would just be Dale dealing with Allison for a while. And I guess the director's point. I mean, the film it's actually pretty sweet because it's about not
judging a book. By
not judging a book by its cover. Because obviously
even when that book was Mein Kampf.
So anyway, that's a good one. That was a smart joke.
I almost messed it up.
But this film is dealing with that. It's like the other character, Chad, who happens to be the douchebag frat boy, sort of collegiate young man, ends up having a secret of his own that's towards the end of the film. It's pretty cool, but it's very tongue-in-cheek, and it's not taken too seriously. So the funniest part is like when he reveals his dark secret in the film. It's just the way they play it off is very funny. But there's parts where the film does drag, but it's not a dragging where you're like, oh god, I'm going to turn this film off. It's pretty good. I just wish that
just waiting to see what's going to happen.
Yeah, because I think what it is that since we're in on the joke that Tucker and Dale aren't evil, you kind of just want to move on to the violence of the film already. You just want to see these people get dispatched, and they don't do it in like once after and what, like a regular horror film. You know, they'll go and find one character and then kill them off, and then it'll go back to people bullshitting for like 20 minutes or 10 minutes.
This guy's been in every fucking movie.
Guy?
Jesse Moss,
Alan Tudyk,
Chad. No, Chad.
Really? He does look familiar. There's something about his face. He was actually very good. He was a pretty strong character in the film, as in like him playing the stereotypical douchebag.
Weird douchebag too.
Yeah, because there's a part where he comes up to Allison and they're alone. Everybody else is getting ready to either they were checking out the lake or something like that. He goes, "We're perfect for each other." It's almost like an Aryan race kind of speech.
They're above. They're cut from different cloths. And then he's like, everything he says is like, "We're alone in the jungle. We're free," and like all this kind of like weird.
Yeah, I think what it is, he wants to be an alpha male, and it all spurns back to his origin because he himself gets an origin. It's funny how they have the character who would, I guess he wouldn't even be the hero in the other kind. If these characters were dropped into a horror film, he probably would have been the first guy that gets killed anyway. But in this one, he turns out to be this so and so villain. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think he works pretty good as a strong enemy in the film because he's kind of a douche. I mean, they could have just easily just played it off and whatever, but I think he's pretty cool. I like
I totally thought the movie was going one way when it shows, you know, that cop or whatever that pulled him over.
Yeah, I thought the cop was going to have more to do. He does have more to do.
I thought the cop was going to be a bad guy.
That's what I thought too. I thought that maybe
because when he comes there and like, you know, they say, "Oh, he's weird," and then later on with the leg scene and the cops there, and like I'm thinking like the cop's going to be like, "Oh, we got to kill them all." Like it's like some inside town thing that they kill.
It should be interesting, but then it would be like a whole different kind of film. And there's logical flaws, but I guess since it's comedy, you know, they have to have suspension of disbelief. Like when the cop actually walks up to Tucker and Dale, because there's somebody that throws themselves into a combine by accident and they get shredded in half, and Tucker and Dale are dragging the lower half of the guy's.
Awesome.
It is, and Tucker and Dale are dragging the guy's body out, and only by his legs, which is I think they use it for one of the posters or promotional pieces of the film. The cop just stands there, doesn't even reach for his gun. And he's just kind of like, he's just there going, what's going on? And that leads up to the next setup of the next death scene. But
well, that's why the way he was acting, I was like, oh, he's probably like a bad guy.
Yeah, so it's a funny film because I mean he does do the whole old man warning people thing from Friday the 13th films. You know, when the guy warns you not to go up to the cabin and stuff like that.
Yeah,
He does that to Tucker and Dale at the beginning, which there actually is a pretty funny like homosexual joke at the beginning of the movie.
What is it? I don't remember.
The part where
Tucker's he's wearing no shirt and everything,
and his head is in his lap. It looks like he's giving him a blowjob. So when the cop walks up, he just lifts his head up and he's shirtless. That's pretty funny.
Right.
It's very stupid. But any weaknesses of the film that you want to point out?
Not really. I mean, it could have been a little more gory, maybe, or my personal taste.
Yeah, I just wish
a little more extreme, I guess.
I just wish the deaths weren't so all together at one time. I mean, that raises up a holy shit factor. Like, oh, these people are dying at one time. But
yeah, I mean, the part with the gunshot was so awesome when that kid like hurt himself with it. And
I like the was it a lawnmower part? No, it wasn't a lawnmower. It was a weed whacker, right?
Yeah, it takes off her face.
The weed whacker part was pretty fucking cool. And
I'm glad that Allison got to see for herself that. Because I didn't think, for some reason, I thought, like, she's going to get knocked out conveniently every time.
Yeah, because that did happen the first time, right?
It happened 2 times. So, like,
oh, right.
you know, the I'm thinking that that's going to happen again, but she actually got to see with her own eyes that her friends are like insane people and shit.
Yeah, but for a new kind of horror film that twists the comedic angle to it, where people end up dying through their own fuck ups, it's a pretty fresh entry into the genre, I think, right?
There really is there's no bad guys. A bad guy's created during the movie itself.
Right. So you see the origin of the character happen. He has like a double origin going on. The only other film that I believe that kind of does this thing is The Lady Killers, which is the Coen brothers remade an old film where about these guys that are trying to kill this old lady.
Hanks in that.
Right. That's the remake. And in effect, all the bad guys that are in the film end up dying through weird circumstances. So I mean, this isn't the first time a film like this has been done, but at least it's done in a funny way. And the film does kind of have heart to it. You know what I mean? It's not just a slasher film. They're trying to
I would watch this movie
out.
like 3 times in a row while sitting on my couch, like vegging out totally.
By lesing out, nice.
Lesing out, yeah.
And Tucker and Dale are actually two funny characters. I wish there was a lot more Tucker as well, because I ended up liking Tucker more than Dale. Dale's cool because he's the fat guy and nice guy.
He's
Tucker,
like so silly and innocent.
Tucker was like obviously the straight man, and Dale's it's like a Abbott and Costello kind of thing. But they're funny, and the movie's good. And
you say that questioning. Good.
Movie's good? No, the movie's good. It's fun, and it's a good rental if you want to have some. Some laughs. They're like a bit spacing between the laughs, but when the laughs come, they're actually genuinely funny.
The whole thing is very comfortable feeling.
Right.
You can watch it and relax and not have to think so deeply or anything.
Right. It's the laughs are handed to you on a platter. So anything else you want to talk about this movie?
I like that his last name sounds like two dicks.
Very good. So I think that's about it for this episode. That's why it's hard for us to review horror comedies, because it's such a different type of film. Do you know what I mean? For our show, but whatever. I'm sure we'll do
good
Idle
movies
Hands.
For that matter, because reviewing a good movie is just like is really good. You should see it. Bad movies
check it
are
out.
much easier to rip apart and say exactly what's wrong with them.
Definitely. I think that's why people like those kind of things more. But other than that, what is your rating for this film?
I'm gonna give it. I always have to start off and think of the rating system. I'm gonna give it like an 8 out of 10. I feel like I always give 8s or 7s. I gotta get more extreme with my ratings.
Mm-hmm.
But this movie is an 8. I'm gonna say it's an 8. An 8 out of 10.
You didn't even want to do regular ratings this episode, right?
No, I'm gonna do an 8.1.
Okay.
Out of 10. Guy with like half his face burned off putting a girl on a saw and like licking her face.
I'll give a 7 out of 10. Guy running into a room with weed whacker and then being set on fire because somebody thought a jar of moonshine was water.
I think it was kerosene or something.
Was
right?
it? I thought it was moonshine. Same shit. Whatever.
I guess that would make sense, actually. It was moonshine.
So, what is the next film?
It is American Psycho.
I love that movie. American Psycho is the next film. So, thanks again to flamefox.tumblr.com for the suggestion. And Popcorn... What's your last
Showers.
name? Popcorn Showers. What is the final word?
Plantain potato chips.
The horror deconstruction.